They called him Black Jesus, but for a man with magic in his moves, many said it was a wasted career. Earl Monroe could make defenders look foolish with a simple spin. He could hang in the air like he was floating, yet the basketball world told him he was too much, too street, too black. Monroe grew up in the tough streets of South Philadelphia. The courts there had cracks in the cement. The rims were bent. The backboards were shaped like half moons. Kids had to change how they played just to make shots. This is where Earl learned his style. He called it making a way out of no way. His moves had names that sounded like music: the shake and bake, the fluky Duke shot, the la-la hang time. Monroe would take the ball into a corner. He would spin past bigger players, then he would float in the air with his knees tucked up. Finally, he would make an impossible shot look easy. A local writer gave him the nickname Earl the Pearl. The name stuck because it sounded smooth. It also helped that it did not mention his race. His other nickname was Black Jesus, but that one made white fans uncomfortable. So Earl the Pearl became the name everyone used. When Monroe played, arenas went wild. Fans called it Bedlam. He was pure entertainment. His style came from Black Street basketball culture. It was about individual skill and creative moves. This was very different from the team-first style that coaches wanted. Monroe perfected moves that no one had seen before. He would wave his hands and wiggle his hips. He would shuffle his feet in strange patterns. Then he would whirl past defenders who were much bigger than him. His shots often came off balance, but somehow went in anyway. He also mastered passes that caught everyone off guard, behind-the-back throws, no-look feeds to teammates. Monroe said he never knew what he would do with the ball. If he did not know, then the defender had no chance to guess either. This style was born from necessity in black neighborhoods. Players had to adapt to poor conditions. Courts with broken surfaces forced creative solutions. Monroe explained that growing up in the ghetto meant deviating from normal basketball. Players had to compensate for different things. In 1967, Monroe was ready to try out for the USA basketball team. He had just finished college where he scored over 40 points per game. He was clearly one of the best players in America, but the coaches had already made up their minds about him. They told Monroe his style was too street, too playground, too black. Those were their exact words. He did not make the team. Neither did Elvin Hayes, another future Hall of Fame player. Both were black players with flashy styles. Monroe never forgot those words. He said they left a bad taste in his mouth for the rest of his life. The rejection was not about his skills, it was about his race and his style of play. The NBA in the late 1960s was changing fast. By 1972, about 60% of players were black. This scared some white fans and owners. They worried that too many black players would hurt business. Some called it a black tide that was ruining basketball. White sports writers often blamed black players for the decline of basketball. They said playground ball was a racial smear. It meant a lack of sophistication or even moral failing. These writers wanted the old white game of teamwork and fundamentals. Monroe entered the NBA with the Baltimore Bullets in 1967. He was the second pick in the draft. Right away, he showed he belonged. He won Rookie of the Year after scoring 24 points per game. He once scored 56 points against the Lakers, but his style caused problems at first. His behind-the-back passes caught white teammates off guard. This led to turnovers. Referees called him for palming the ball when he did his spin move. Coach Gene Shue had to show them game film to prove the move was legal. Even though Monroe was exciting to watch, some people did not like his style. They called it selfish. They said playground players were ruining team basketball. This was really code for saying black players were the problem. Monroe saw it differently. He said his style came from necessity. Growing up in poor black areas meant playing on bad courts. Players had to be creative to succeed. This created a whole culture of street ball that was about pride and self-expression. In his second season, Monroe averaged 25.8 points per game. This helped the Bullets go from last place to first in their division. He made the All-NBA first team. Coach Gene Shue praised his combination of basketball ability and showmanship. Teammate Ray Scott said God could not go one-on-one with Earl. After 4 years in Baltimore, Monroe got into a bitter fight with team management. The problem was money. His agent said the Bullets owed Monroe pay from previous seasons. The team was using deferred payments to avoid paying him right away. Monroe refused to sign a new contract for the 1971 season. His agent told the Bullets that Earl wanted to be traded. He would only go to 3 teams: the Lakers, Bulls, or his hometown 76ers. When the Bullets said no, Monroe made it an ultimatum. The Bullets were in bad financial shape. They had little cash and apparently owed Monroe back pay. This made their position weak. Monroe even traveled to Indianapolis to talk with the ABA Indiana Pacers. This scared the Bullets because losing Monroe for nothing would be a disaster. On October 22, 1971, the Bullets suspended Monroe. He had played only 3 games that season. The team went 2-7 without him. Fans were angry. The pressure mounted for management to make a deal. Finally, on November 10, 1971, Monroe was traded to the New York Knicks. The Bullets got Mike Riordan, Dave Stallworth, and cash. The Knicks basically acted as the bank to pay off Earl in Baltimore. Monroe signed with New York right away. This trade was bigger than just one player moving. It showed how players could fight back against unfair treatment. Monroe used the threat of jumping to the ABA to force his way out. This helped set the stage for free agency that would come later. Moving to New York was not easy at first. Monroe averaged only 11.4 points in his first 60 games with the Knicks. People wondered if he could play with Walt Frazier, another flashy guard. Both players had big personalities and unique styles, but the doubters were wrong. Monroe and Frazier became one of the best guard pairs in NBA history. People called them the Rolls-Royce backcourt. They were both Hall of Famers and made the NBA 50th anniversary team. Very few teams have ever had 2 guards that good. The Knicks made the 1972 finals but lost to the Lakers. Monroe was still adjusting to his new role. But in 1973, everything clicked. The Knicks beat the Lakers in the finals rematch. Monroe averaged 15.5 points in the regular season and 16.0 points in the finals. This success proved something important. It showed that individual style and team play could work together. Monroe and Frazier were both creative players, but they also played winning basketball. This helped change how people saw black players and streetball moves. The partnership provided a counter-narrative to racist stereotypes. It clearly showed that individual brilliance could be harnessed within a team context. This outcome helped normalize the black approach to basketball. It demonstrated that fundamentals could coexist with creative moves. Monroe played with the Knicks until 1980. Knee injuries forced him to retire after 13 seasons. He finished with career averages of 18.8 points, 3.9 assists, and 3.0 rebounds. He shot 46.4% from the field and 80.7% from the free throw line. His honors tell the story of a great career. Rookie of the Year in 1968, 4-time All-Star, 1 championship, Hall of Fame induction in 1990, named to the NBA 50th and 75th anniversary teams. These are the achievements of a basketball legend. But Monroe's impact went beyond statistics. He helped change how basketball was played and viewed. His streetball style is now normal in the NBA. Players today use moves that Monroe pioneered 50 years ago. After retiring, Monroe stayed busy. He managed singing groups and started a record company. He worked as a television commentator. He was active in community affairs. Monroe found ways to give back and stay connected to the game. Monroe's story is about more than basketball success. It shows how one man fought against racial bias and financial unfairness. He faced rejection for being too black and too street, but he never gave up his style or his dignity. The man they called Black Jesus proved that being different was not wrong. His magic moves and creative spirit helped make basketball more exciting. Monroe opened doors for future generations of players who wanted to express themselves on the court. Earl Monroe turned 80 in 2024. He lives quietly now, but his legacy lives on in every crossover dribble and creative finish. The Pearl proved that sometimes being too much is exactly enough.